We are
Hi.
live now. It says it
Uh-huh.
didn't even give us a countdown.
No.
Well, welcome, friends, to Hope After the Landslide. If you're joining here for the first time, my name is Jackie Rose, and this is my dear friend Lynn. And Lynn has been a part of the Grieving Moms Ministry for quite some time, and she just has been praying, and God's been just kind of just directing her to come out here and share her story. So I'm so grateful for you, Lynn, and your courage to be out here tonight and to share your story about your son. But first, I need to do some announcements. We need to do a little of the housekeeping. First, I want to announce that we have Lisa Didden's open house that is the first Thursday of every month, and that starts at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But you have to email our Stacy, and it's stacy@grievingmoms.com in order to sign up, because you're given a link to be able to get on the Zoom. We don't just hand out the Zoom information. She's going to be talking about the frozen phase, which is in the resurfacing book that we go through in this ministry. It is a faith based study guide on the experiences that you will go through in the loss of a child. And let's see. And then Jill Cody, she's one of our new leaders, and her group starts tomorrow night. It's going to be on Zoom. That's June 4th, and it is at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Got to sign on the website to find all details for that. She would love to meet you. And I always say that the women that end up in the groups of these leaders, it is so God ordained, and these women just end up being friends forever. Just like I
Mm.
know that Lynn will be in my life for a very long time. And so I am just so elated that you are taking the time to be here this evening. And I'm also once again grateful for Lynn to share her story. We may be talking about some other things that life has been uh, given us, and how the
Mm.
Lord has helped us get through that. So,
Yeah.
Lynn, would you love to share your story about your sweet boy?
Yes, I would. And I am just thrilled to be on here. And it did take a little bit of the Holy Spirit, push to get me here, but I'm so excited about it. I met you, Jackie. I don't know if you remember, through a friend of mine who lost two children. I don't know if she's on here, Alberta. And years ago, she lost her 2-year-old son, and it was the first time that I knew anybody in my life that had lost a child. So I experienced pain, but not like she did. And then she lost another son later to suicide. So the night that Andrew, my son, he was 41 years old, he was killed in a car accident. And I called her the next morning because I knew out of
Hmm.
anybody, she would know how I felt. So, what happened was, Andrew had two children, and he wasn't married, but he was with his partner, and he also had problems with alcoholism. He was a functioning alcoholic, sometimes not too functioning, but he worked, and he had, as he told me, the worst occupation, and that was a bartender. So it was very available to him. But he
Mm.
managed a bar, and not far from his house. And it was during, it was right after COVID, really. But during COVID, he was trying to keep the business going. A lot of stress. His girls, he was doing their homework and they're online with the teachers. And what happened was he kind of let his health go and didn't know it, but he had diabetes. So it was undiagnosed. So the night that he had the accident, he had been drinking, and he also had very high blood sugar, the coroner told us later. So, there was kind of a shame in that for me that, oh, my son was drunk driving. I thank the Lord that nobody else was killed.
Right.
There was some injuries to, there were three cars involved, and there were some injuries, but he passed out and went into the other lane and was hit by one car and then turned around and had a head-on collision. So I live in North Carolina and they're from Pennsylvania. I got a call from my brother and he said, "Lynn, what's going on with Andrew?" And I said, "I don't know." And he said, "Oh, I just got a call from our younger brother. I have three brothers. Our younger brother, Wayne, that Andrew was in an accident. We have to pray for him." So I tried to call Jim, who I had not been speaking to for several years because we were divorced. And then he finally called me back and, said those words that I never wanted to hear. And that was, "Andrew's been in an accident." And then he just started sobbing and said, "Our boy didn't make it." And I could not grasp that what? No, no, he made it. He made it. Like, I just had that whole feeling of I can't accept that. And then I finally realized this is the truth. This is what's happening. And
Hmm.
here I was down in North Carolina by myself. I had many friends down here, and I had a niece that lives close by, and she came over. And then the next day I went up to Pennsylvania. And so, what I had shared with you, Jackie, is that we had been divorced for probably 4 years. And I will share a little bit about that and how this was all part of my picture of my life. And that is that when I went up there, I had told my ex-husband, who left me for another woman, "I don't want to ever talk to you again. I don't want to have any communication with you," because it was just too difficult for me to see him. I was so hurt and so broken by that. So I knew I was going to have to talk to him. And we met in my daughter's driveway. And when we both got out of the car, we like ran to each other and just fell, like
Hmm.
dove into each other's arms,
Hmm.
and we just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And just some of the things he said were so hard, but it was like this was our baby, this was our
Yeah.
first child, this was our son. So like all the things that had happened and anything that unforgiveness was gone because we were so hurt, so broken. So I continued to talk to him in the driveway, and he, I think, felt like he had to tell me all about the accident of what he knew. I really didn't want to hear about it, but I knew he needed to tell me. So as I'm standing there and looking at this broken-hearted man, I call it the Holy Spirit massage. And that is when
Hmm.
the Holy Spirit, just like that still small voice, said, "You need to forgive him for all he's done in the divorce." And in my mind, I wasn't saying this out loud, but I was like, "Forgive him? I can't believe, Lord, that you want me to forgive him." And then it was the other still small voice said, "For yourself, do it for yourself to heal." So I just looked at him and the words came right out and I said, "Jim, I just want you to know, I forgive you for all the things that happened. Um, with our divorce." And he looked totally shocked. And he goes, "Really?" And I said, "Yes, really. That's what I need to do." So it really made things easier at that time because then we didn't have a funeral and it was during COVID. So we just went and kind of viewed his body, and then we did a memorial service later. But
How difficult that would have been had you not
yes.
welcomed in and give and offered that forgiveness. I mean, not
Hmm.
just for the longevity purpose, but also for this whole process. And because during COVID, you're not really able to communicate or be in the presence of very many people.
Right. That we were only allowed to have, like, I think it was starting to open up in the spring. So he died in February, and we were going to have it on his birthday, which was just this past week, May 31st. And he we had it around that time. I think we had it in June, and we could only have 30 people. And
Mm.
so we both have big families, so it was more, aunts, uncles and things like that. But we had there, it was a beautiful ceremony. um and also I just also when I hear people say on here that, you don't know, I don't know if my child's in heaven. And, he wasn't walking with the Lord, but I know that when before my father died, he he became a Christian, like, and I feel like angels or something visited him to tell him. And I thought, God knows that this was his covenant child, and he I don't know what goes on between the present and death. So I believe, and God has shown me in different ways, that he is with him. So that gives
Yes.
me peace.
Thank you for sharing that, because that is
Hmm.
a topic. It comes up
Yeah.
quite often, quite often.
Right.
If you're just joining us, my friend Lynn is here sharing her story about her sweet son Andrew that passed in a car accident, and talking about some other challenges in her life that we both actually can relate to, which is the subject of divorce. And both of us are here to speak positively about the subject. So if you have lost a child and you've also gone through divorce either before the child passed or after the child passed, we want you to know that you're in a space that we understand. We'll say hi to Tracy and to Rosemary. Welcome, you guys. And like I always say, don't be shy. Hey, Lisa, I already announced too, by the way, in the beginning about your open house, but I'll do it again. Just share in the comments where you're from. Don't be shy, and your name of your child. So yeah, Lynn and I share this whole the big D word, the divorce. And
Hmm.
I just know, hi Carol, uh, that I just know that I did the same thing. I have provided forgiveness for that so that we can
Hmm.
continue to have a relation for the sake of for each other, but also because of the kids and the grandkids. And as Lynn and I were sharing before the show started, which was that no one else is going to understand how you feel. Like she said, when they saw each other when their son passed away, they just got into each other's arms and probably just collapsed because
Hmm.
God used two people to bring the child into this world, and no one else is going to understand that except for the parents, as you said. And if you don't have that relation with your spouse that or is an ex-spouse now, there's
Hmm.
this huge void. There's this like, I want to share this, but so then you may have the unforgiveness, and then you may have a place where you don't know where to go. Yes, you speak to the grieving moms community of women that are going to love you and surround you and embrace you. But then the moment that you set eyes on this man that, you guys brought these beautiful children into this world, there's just something that is just so endearing that for me, I never wanted to lose it.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true. And I also, with the divorce, so what I was sharing with Jackie too is that before Andrew died in the car crash, there were certain things I called them the tsunami and the tidal wave, and that was before I learned about the landslide saying. But Andrew was my landslide, but my tsunami was after 40 years of marriage. My husband came to me and said, I don't want to be married anymore. And I got that line of, I love you, but I'm just not in love with you anymore, which, I don't quite understand. But um, so that just, and before that, I had a diagnosis of thyroid cancer and had to have my thyroid out. And that was only like maybe 5 months before he told me that. So I'm getting hit from all sides, and I was like, Lord, I don't know what to do. You're gonna have to take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. But the Lord came through to me in ways I never would have experienced if I hadn't gone through this grief and horrific time. I felt like through the whole thyroid cancer, it was like I was lifted through it and just floated through it. And because at that point my husband had kind of he was already having an affair. I didn't know, but he was like disconnected from me. So the Lord just started preparing me for that, and I thought, well, this is the big thing in my life that's going to happen. And then, about 6 months later, he left, and my life was like just wiped out, and I lost everything. I lost his love and support. I lost the house that we worked so hard to have, and I it also there was a lot of problems with my children from the divorce. Even um, any child, like a small child, it's really difficult. But I learned from experience. My daughters were in their one was in her 30s, and my other daughter was in her late 20s, and my son was still alive at that time, and it just crushed them and just shattered the family. So I was starting out on the bottom, and when he left me, I just remember getting on my knees and saying, Lord, there's two paths I can take. I can take the path of, oh, I'm single, I'm free, I can go out and have a good old time, or I can run to you and
Hmm.
fall into your arms. And I, in bitter tears, said, where else will I go but to you, like Peter said. So I fell into his arms, and he carried me and showed me who he was through his word, and comforting, words that I would have in my spirit, or through friends. And I had one friend that said, God fills a void in our life before we even know we have it. And so it's so true, because I was like in a Bible study with friends that ministered to me during the divorce. And then there was one friend I had from years ago, and I would walk this trail that was near the house. And this one night, I hadn't seen her for a long time. I knew she was divorced. She comes riding by on her bike, and I'm walking, and I'm like, Jan? And she goes, Lynn? And I said, it's like God just dropped you out of the heaven right down here for me. And she knew and understood what I was going through. But that has been where I've been, and to be able to forgive, and I've been working on my relationships with my daughters and trying to help them through, and I didn't want to be that bitter woman that they would. I wanted them, and I prayed this, Lord, let your light shine through me into my children and grandchildren's life, so that they know that you are the one that is giving me this strength, and you are the one that is giving me this peace. And I they say that they see it, and it's a beautiful thing that God's done.
What a great
Mhm.
prayer. And I want to back up to that what you said, and this can apply to anything that's going on in your life, you guys. So, Lynn had said, well, she's single and she's free, and oh, I could go out and do whatever I
Mhm.
want, or she could run to the Lord. Because running and being free, and some people may just do that and say, "Oh, I'm
Mhm.
single," and then all of a sudden you're like you're lonely, and no one, no nothing is going to fill, as you said, the void.
Mhm.
So no matter what we're going through, especially in this ministry, running to Jesus as we have lost, the child, to keep coming. And then as far as, having the void filled, like we both love Isaiah, and Isaiah
Right.
54:5 is, for your maker is your husband, the Lord of hosts is his name, and the Holy One of Israel is your Redeemer, the God of the whole earth he is called. And as you and I said, it's not like we're saying no to another man in our life. No, we're very much open to it. But I
Mhm.
have to say, I'm sure you could, echo this, is that it's going to take it's gonna take a godly man, and in
Yes.
my life, it's gonna have to be someone that's got, a big calling on their life as
Yeah.
well, and it's not gonna be this, competition. It's going to be
Right.
celebrating what God is using us
Mm.
to be, because, after spending 38 years of marriage,
That's a
you
long
come out and
time.
you're like, "Okay, I never want to be hurt again in that way, and I'm not
Mm-mm.
going to
Mm.
compromise who it is that I'm going to be with. I'm going to wait on the Lord because I
Right.
know that He is good. Um,
Mhm.
Jill, I want you to know if you're still on here is that I announced your group that is starting tomorrow. So Jill's on here. If you guys are looking to get into a Zoom group, you can comment with her, but ultimately you'd have to sign up on the grievingmoms.com website. I want to say hi to Debbie. And again, my little co-host there, Lisa, is on here conversing, and Vicky is sharing about her and her ex-husband are best friends. And that's beautiful. He's like been remarried, has a child, but yet you guys still. And I know that Vicky has lost her daughter. They had quite a number of lung transplants. So that's great. What a great testimony that is. So yeah, all of you guys that are on here, continue to converse with one another. This is how you get to know women in the community. And but yeah, if you guys seriously, Jill's starting tomorrow. There, everybody's like, when is the
Mhm.
group starting? When is the group starting? Well, Jill's starting hers tomorrow, and you will love Jill. She's a sweetheart. I've talked to her numbers of times. So, yeah, as and we were talking earlier, and I said to Lynn there, we're talking about, in this particular case, we're talking about sometimes we have had a divorce, whether it's before or after, and we're grieving and walking this journey primarily alone. And if you're not familiar with Oswald Chambers and My Utmost for His Highest, I highly recommend that.
Mhm.
It's a timeless devotional book. It's been around forever. Thank you, Vicky. We love you, Vicky. Oswald Chambers once said, "If I allow any turning away from God in my private life, everyone around me suffers. All of this
Mhm.
is because we don't recognize Christ's redemptive ministry open to all that embrace Him as a Savior and as Lord, and being the foundation upon which our marriages must be built upon and maintained. It's enough to make all of heaven weep." God wants us to stay married. He does. You both, in a marriage, you both have to be willing to fight for it. And don't wait until things start to become stale. It's a constant working on it, going on dates, talking openly about the
Mhm.
loss of your child, even if it's not your child's biological father, but just to keep the communication open and saying, I'm really feeling empty, or I'm really feeling disconnected from you, to prevent all of that. And, don't shy away from, I think in my case, I was saying, gosh, we fought for many years, not fought to stay together in our marriage. And after everything that just happened, men and women grieve differently.
I do, yes.
Definitely. And, I wanted to run to Jesus, and, that doesn't always work out that way on both ends. And so
Right.
therefore, but the most important thing you can do for yourself and for the rest of your family is to offer forgiveness, as Lynn has shared that she did, and as I have, because it'll just fester inside.
Right.
The book about the body keeps the score, right?
Mhm.
So like you said, Lynn, we don't want to become bitter. We don't want our family to
Right.
see us. We want us to live and leave a legacy of modeling the example of Jesus in our lives.
Mhm. And I had shared with Jackie also, I started counseling because I off and on all my life. And I really think it's wonderful that, and there's no shame in it. And
Definitely not.
I'm seeing a counselor who is a little bit old, a couple of years older than my son. He reminds me of my son, and my son was always one that gave great advice. And so I really like this guy, and he has helped me see these things in a gentle way. And that one of the things that he brings up to me about, because he's a Christian, is that Jesus wants us to live in freedom, and he wants us to be free of what unforgiveness will fester in us. He wants us to also be free of the not the pain, but he wants us to be free of the grief that weighs us down, and
Hmm.
the when we're grieving without hope. And so I wrote a couple notes about, and maybe I won't find them, but anyway, about how. Jesus says that we are free in him. And of course I can't find them. Oh, wait. But
We're not going
uh,
anywhere, Lynn.
okay, yeah, hold on. Here it is. So it's in Isaiah again, my favorite book, 61:1. It talks about how, Jesus was sent and the Spirit of the Lord, God
Mm,
is upon him. And because the Lord has, and I need my glasses, because the Lord has anointed me, talking about Jesus, he's to bring good news to the poor. He was sent to me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty or freedom to the captives, and the opening of the prison doors to those who are bound. And I think sometimes that unforgiveness or grief can bind us up, and we can feel like we're in a prison to it, and not I was there where I couldn't get out of bed, or I didn't want to go different places. And not that I'm saying that that's not a bad thing. If self preservation, self help is good, but it it's allowing the Lord to heal us and not to be afraid, because he wants to let us live free. And that's what I found, with forgiving my ex. And and also in Isaiah he says, "Fear not, for I am with you." And I did that. I went all through his word and got all the scriptures of where he said he was with us and he would never forsake us. Okay, maybe my husband abandoned me, but Jesus will never abandon me. Jesus will never go away. He has, chosen me, and I'm precious to him. So these are the things that I learned through that. Mm.
Isaiah 61:1 is probably the most important scripture in all of Isaiah. And
Mm,
if you don't quite understand it, I put it in the comments here. I really recommend that you learn more about Isaiah 61:1
mm,
because it sums up like really what we're supposed to be doing and why, like you
mhm,
said, he was sent. So
mhm,
it's truly powerful. Well, Lynn, I love that you again could have run the other direction. Any of you that are watching could have run the other direction, but you chose to run to Jesus
mm.
because he is the way, the truth, the life, and he
Amen.
will re-identify your purpose if you feel like you've lost it under this whole landslide experience, or if you've had a divorce, or if you've had an illness, maybe you might be going through an illness right now, whatever, because grieving is so very hard on the body. So that's why you want to, as Lynn said, is no shame in getting counseling and to get down into the root cause, because a lot of you may have had things that have happened prior, as Lynn has shared, as I have shared. I had thyroid disease. I had it
Oh.
killed. So back in 1993, and so I don't have a thyroid. It's in there, but it's non-functioning. But there's
Mm-hmm.
just different things, and you know, all along the way, God knows the whole big plan of life, and every stage of things that we go through prepares us for the next. And little
Yes.
did we know that right now, and the reason that Lynn is here, the reason I am here is because we are taking our pain and we're sharing it in hopes that it's going to give hope to someone else, because many of you may be just hanging on, just barely tying a knot at the end of your rope, just hanging on, like saying, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm just going to tell you right now, don't buy the lie of the enemy. God is there with you right in this moment, as he was for Lynn, still is for me, and for many of the women in this ministry, our leaders. There's countless testimonies of people that have decided to share openly about their pain and worked it out. And Jesus filled in and brought so many women to this place of joy and laughter, because if you're continuing on again to buy the lie, you're going to stay stuck. And I think, Lynn, as I told you earlier this morning when we talked, is that this is the beginning of a new chapter of your grieving, because now you've shared the story openly to
Yes.
these friends that are here, and that takes the power away that it has on us. And so, all of you here, we really want to applaud Lynn and everybody else,
Mm.
Lisa that comes on here
Thanks.
countless times, and all of my other friends. Like, I'm not going to start naming because I'll forget somebody and then I'll get,
Mhm.
text messages. What about me? No, they don't. But those for all of those that have come on here, they want to genuinely hope that they can help you guys. And
Mm.
as I say every time, if you feel that the Lord is kind of knocking on the door and saying, you need to share your story, we welcome that. And by the way, Lynn, you're okay. Like you're not sweating. I'm not making you nervous, right? You think,
No, I did not, honestly, I was not nervous at all. You, facilitate this beautifully. You're just so
"Hmm,
natural and it's
thank you."
easy. It's not you're yeah. Whoever was on last week, you said that she was survived, and I put in, well, if she survived, then phew, I can do it.
That was, yeah, Karen White came
Yeah,
on the last time, and yeah,
right.
it's everybody thinks it's really scary, but right, both of us can only see each other
Right,
and
I
your
can't see her.
comments, and
Yeah,
so it's just like having a conversation. But you have no idea,
exactly.
as I told Lynn, how many people that you're going to bless, and
I hope so, yeah.
lovingly, it's like we have to say this all the time. In Pastor Rick's book, the first line in Purpose Driven Life, he said, "It's not about you."
Right.
He said that, and those can sound really harsh, but when the Lord is calling you to do something, and I'm not just saying Facebook Live, I'm saying in any
Anything.
part of your life and sharing your story, listen to him because I'm going to tell you, it is going to break down walls in your life and you're going to be
Mm.
able to have that joy. And I want to say hi to Christy from Midland, Texas. And thank you, Tracy, for saying, I love this. We love you guys. And Debbie, I'm so glad that you are here. And we've got Vicky and Tammy. I'm just going to go back over. And Jill, Jill, did I mention your name a few times? Rosemary and Carol, of course, that is also over there on the East Coast. Um, so, Lynn, can I kind of confidently say what you shared with me this morning?
Sure. I am an open book. You know why? Because I wrote my book up to a point, and then God said, "We're going to rip those pages out, and I'm going to write your new story." So you go right ahead.
Well, actually, I don't want to steal your thunder. What did you say
Oh.
that you felt you were being called to do?
Oh, I said I feel that the Lord first called me to come on here, and I did it. He's been calling me to be a leader and to help other women. And I told Jackie I'm going to make that step in faith and glorify the Lord with that.
Yes, and we are so honored that, well, now that you've publicly announced it,
Yeah. I
there's gonna
can't go
there
back.
well, you can,
Yeah.
you certainly can, but I would love it. The women and the other leaders would absolutely love it. I know you again
Yeah.
will bless many, many people. So, yeah, continue to pray about that, and then just you can email
Yes.
Stacy. But and that goes for any of you. If you have gone through the resurfacing book that we have, and you've been in part of the community, you understand, if that feels like the next step, that's what we're here for. But it's grievingmoms.com. All of our information is on there. We meet in churches, we meet on Zoom, we meet in personal homes. We do this Facebook Live. Hi, Eileen from Indiana. We do so many things. We have a lot of resources on. In fact, someone signed up today to have me do a heart assessment that's under resources. So I'm really just so honored to be able to do that. And we have the Hope and Healing Camp. Those are those online videos that you can watch at any time of the day. It's a subscription. That's under grievingmoms.com. And it looks like you're getting kudos from Carol.
Oh, hi, Carol. I met her at the retreat, and I met Rochelle and Lisa. And while I'm on here, because I can't ever say this or write it, I want to say something about Lisa and what it meant to me when I went to the retreat. I was really nervous and reluctant, it seems to be a pattern, doesn't it? That I'm always a little
No,
reluctant
you're
first.
normal.
Yeah. And so my biggest fear was that I really didn't feel like I had grieved totally. And my biggest fear that I was going to get there and just be a puddle and like a noodle, wet noodle, and never revived. I walked into the house where we had the retreat, and the first person to greet me was Lisa. And I immediately felt so
Hmm.
loved, so welcomed, so she just, Lisa, you have the most beautiful spirit, and
I
all that
love
you
it.
did for that retreat. And I looked around and there were pictures of everybody's son in there. So I took my son's picture down. This was, I don't know if you can see it, there's kind of a glare on it, but this is Andrew, the last picture I
I
have of
love it.
him. And it was up there with his name. And then we all got these little candles.
Oh my gosh, I
And
love that you still have it.
I do. I have it on my I and then I add little things like I found this Diet Coke bottle that has Andrew on it, and I, my little shrine. So
Oh,
but it always reminds me of that, how, and she's the best cook I ever.
yes, yes, she is.
Such
And
a
she's
good
cooking.
cook.
She's cooking at
Yes.
our leadership retreat. In fact, I
Oh,
told her to turn it into a class. Lisa, are you just getting so filled up with love right now? And I also want to do a shout out to Adri, who opened up her home to all
yes.
of
That
us
was
over there
beautiful.
in beautiful Rehoboth Beach. And yeah, I will be going back there again. And so, Carol, if you
Mm,
become a leader, you get to go to the leadership retreats, which we have an
yeah.
amazing, amazing time. And
Right.
you want to see like Lisa, like be really sweet and gentle. Then you get to see the other side of Lisa, which is the very funny side of Lisa. So,
Well, I
which we
did
love.
see some of that, and it was, and I brought these out too. Just,
Oh,
I don't know if you can see them. I still have
what
them.
is that, Carol?
I'm Lynn. My last
I'm
name's
sorry,
Carol.
I'm sorry, Lynn. Oh my
I had
gosh.
it all.
I
So
no,
these
no, because I
are.
just saw Carol's name.
Yes, these are the chicken flingers that so we're all sobbing, boo, ugly cry, having our memories memorial service for our children, and that was the other thing, Jackie. I couldn't light the candle and you held my hand and helped me light the candle, and I just felt so loved. And then we all get up from that and we're, pulling ourselves together, and then all of a sudden she's flinging these chickens at us. From
Can
up
you
on the
position
balcony.
it? Can you
What?
position it? Show them how you position it and what
Oh,
you do
okay.
with it.
I'm not good at this, but you're the best.
Oh,
So
you guys
you
had a lot
you
of
pull it
practice, right?
back, see?
Uh-huh.
And
It's
then
like
you
a
let it
rubber
go
band,
and it flings. I
but it's a
can't,
chicken flinger.
yeah, so oh, well,
Yeah,
see?
see?
I'm not good at this. But I have them and I bring them out for my grandkids and
Oh
my
my
great nieces and
gosh.
nephews. Yes. So
I love that. Thank you for sharing. These are
you're
all the good
welcome.
memories that, I mean, you summed it up, like everything that all
Yeah.
the good stuff. So it's not just about being a wet noodle, as you said.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of your soul and your mind and your heart and body get up of like an exercise on all levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
It
that's
was.
beautiful. Gosh, I just have really enjoyed having you on here, Lynn,
Oh,
and for
thank you. I
sure
did too.
yeah, and I know that it's probably not going to be the last time we'll get you on here again. And
Okay.
Lisa, I don't know if you're coming on next week, but we do want you back. Apparently, that's like you're going to be the
Requested.
yeah, you are requested and not voluntold anymore. So, but I know it's late there where you are, Lynn, and so
Yeah.
yeah, have a blessed evening, and I just thank
Thank
you again
you.
for sharing your and being so transparent. I hope
Oh,
that it blessed you guys listening to her share. And the bottom line is that, there is hope, no matter what
right.
she said, tsunami or tidal wave or landslide that you're going to go
Mhm.
through. She kept going. She ran to Jesus. I think that really sums up what we have to say here tonight, right?
Right. Right, exactly. That
So,
he's waiting for us. That's the
yes.
thing. Yeah.
And again, Thursday, sign up for Lisa's open house. It's this Thursday, and you have to email Stacy at grievingmoms.com. You will see Lisa talking about the frozen phase. And yeah, I always tell her it's like that's you. It's all you. I'm not going to come on there unless they want me later or something, but that's her thing. So
Mm.
anyway, I'm going to say to everybody what I always say, Lynn, at the very end of the show, right?
Yes. You're
You're gonna be
gonna be
okay.
okay.
Yes, you are gonna be okay. Well,
You
God bless
are.
you guys.
That's you too.
See you
Thank
next week.
you.
Thank you,
All right.
Lynn.
All right. Bye.
Bye.